So we want to be able to use bleeding edge JavaScript features inside our code, but we also want to make sure that all of our code still works in all browsers which don't support those modern features. Now to do this, we're using this tool called Babel, and I'm going to leave this link attached to this lecture. So Babel is an awesome tool which is going to convert all of our modern features which may not be supported by a browser into older supported code which can run in the browser. So if, for example, we use a class in our application, that is a modern feature and it isn't supported in Internet Explorer. Now, Babel will convert that class syntax into an older syntax using prototypes and stuff, which is supported in Internet Explorer. And all the time, it's going to maintain what the code actually does. So I think the best way to demo this is to give it a whirl yourself. So what we're going to do is go to the interactive demo by clicking try it out, and we're going to get two panes here. In the left is where we write our modern JavaScript code. This is the code we would typically write to create our application. And then using Babel, we're going to get a converted code over here, an older code, which is supported in all browsers. So then, let me start off just by creating a simple function. I'm not going to use any kind of modern JavaScript here. I'm just creating a normal function. And this is old code which is supported in every browser. So all I'm going to do inside this function is console log hello, like so. So notice our code on the left, Babel does its magic and spits out code on the right. And these two are identical right here. So because this is not a modern feature, Babel doesn't actually need to do anything, and it doesn't change our code one bit. But what if now, instead of naming it greet here, we store this in a constant? And remember, constants are modern features. So we say const greet is equal to a function. Now, notice now we get var on the right side. That's because it's taken in this code, it's seen const, which is a modern feature not supported in all browsers, and it's converted that into an older version, var, which is how we used to declare variables. So let's do something else now. I'm going to take in a parameter into this function, and I'm going to output a template string. So over here, we'll do backticks instead and say hello name, like so. And notice over here, it does this concat method instead, because this is older supported JavaScript. This is not. This is a newer modern feature. Okay, one more. Let's turn this into an arrow function. So I'll get rid of the function keyword and do an arrow like so. And on the right, now we get the normal function keyword instead of the arrow function. So that is the essence of Babel. It's taking all of our modern code and it's spitting out this older code that is supported in browsers, but the functionality is still the same. This greet function is going to work exactly the same as this greet function. Okay, so let's do another example now. I'm going to this time create a class, which is a modern feature. We'll call this class user, and inside this class, we'll just create a constructor, and that is going to take in a name. I cannot spell at the minute, a name parameter, and inside all we'll do is say this.name is equal to the name. So a very simple class. But notice on the right, we get all of this stuff instead. We get this constructor function right here that doesn't use a class, and we get all this code at the top as well. So this time Babel has converted this into something that looks a bit more complex, but nonetheless it's code that will do exactly the same thing as the code over here on the left when it runs in the browser. The only difference is that on the right, this is older code which is going to be supported in all browsers. Now don't be put off by how complex this code is over here on the right. We as developers don't ever need to really understand or edit this code. We just need to update our own code, and Babel takes care of the conversion for us into this code. Now to use Babel in our own project, we're going to need to install Babel onto our computer. And for that, we're going to also need to install something called Node.js and npm. Now Node.js is a JavaScript environment that lets us run JavaScript code directly on our computer or on some kind of server, instead of just inside a browser and nowhere else. So far, when we've been writing JavaScript code, it's only been running in the browser and nowhere else. But now we need to install a JavaScript package directly onto our computer, Babel. And to do that, we need to install Node.js and npm. Now, npm is just a package manager that comes along with Node, which we're going to use to actually install the Babel package. Now, all of this probably sounds a lot more complex than it actually is. It's really simple to do and set up, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the very next video.